Those trying to hide from an outstanding warrant in El Paso County might soon run out of time. County commissioners are giving the sheriff's office the ability to better reach those trying to avoid arrest. KFOX 14 News at 5's Genevieve Curtis is live in downtown El Paso.
9,000 outstanding misdemeanor warrants will soon be entered into a statewide database. It's a process Sheriff Richard Weil said should have always been done, but it hasn't. Picture this, a person with a DWI warrant in El Paso County gets pulled over in Dallas. Weil says that officer would have no idea the person they just pulled over is wanted for a DWI in El Paso, but that's all about to change. County commissioners approved $85,000 for the sheriff's office to enter Class A and B misdemeanors warrants for the last 5 years into a statewide database. Part of it will help the county comply with new state standards, which keeps them eligible for grant money, but it also holds people responsible for their actions.
Just that alone is not right, because people need to be held accountable. You shouldn't be able to move out of the city and be free from your charges back here in El Paso.
Some of the misdemeanors in the category include DWIs, shoplifting, and unlawful carrying of a weapon. Weil says felonies have always been entered into that statewide database. Reporting live in downtown El Paso, Genevieve Curtis, KFOX 14 News at 5.
El Paso County Sheriff's deputies need your help finding a wanted fugitive. Miguel Lopez is wanted for allegedly forcing his way into a former friend's apartment and violently assaulting her. Deputies say she tried to call 911, but Lopez reportedly grabbed her cell phone and threw it to the ground. Anyone who knows where to find Lopez is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 566-8477. Border Patrol agents keep this convicted sex offender from coming back into the United States. Agents say Isaac Vizcarra's footprints match those found near the border. When agents ran his background check, they found Vizcarra had not only been deported from the U.S. before, but he also had charges ranging from burglary to criminal sexual contact with a child. He is now in the Otero County Jail on illegal reentry charges. Authorities find a Juarez couple stabbed to death inside of their home. KFOX 14's media partner, the El Paso Times, reports they were found inside their South Juarez bedroom with knife wounds all over their bodies. A kitchen knife was found at the scene. Witnesses say they saw several men go into the couple's home, but authorities could not confirm that. For this next story, we need you to please look at your screen. Doña County Sheriff's deputies need help identifying some human remains found in the desert. This is a belt buckle found near the remains. Investigators say a hiker found the skeletal remains on Friday near Vado. This shoe was also found at the scene. No other information has been released, including how long the remains may have been there. But if these items belong to someone you knew or they look familiar, you're asked to call the Sheriff's Department at 575-525-8897. A fire rips through a Socorro home, forcing the people who live there to stay with family this evening. Socorro officials say the fire started this morning in the master bedroom of the house in the 11,000 block of Pamela Ray. There were no injuries and no word yet on what caused the fire. A woman contacts KFOX 14 after she says El Paso police and sheriff's deputies refused to take action against a contractor who she says she paid tens of thousands of dollars to, but completed almost no work in her house, a house she's been trying to repair after it caught on fire in 2 separate incidents. KFOX 14 News at 5's Bill Malugin spoke to the woman and to her daughter.
Michelle Mares tells me that her mother, a breast cancer survivor, simply wanted her home to be repaired when she hired a contractor by the name of Jose Angel Rodriguez, but she says he took their money, disappeared, and changed his phone number. This is video from last year when a fire damaged the home. Mares tells us Rodriguez also uses the alias Carlos Delgado and that he works for a company called ADP Construction. She says a 10-week contract was agreed upon, but he stopped showing up and doing the work 5 weeks in. And the work that was done did not pass inspections. We went to Rodriguez's house. His gates were locked closed, but a white truck we were told he owns was in the driveway. We tried to get his attention and asked him to come outside, but got no response.
Señor Rodriguez, queremos hablar con usted, por favor.
Wednesday, January the 23rd, she received a call from him, and he told her, now do you see that anything and everything that you do, they're not going to be able to do anything to me.
Y sigue y te vas a arrepentir.
And continue, and you're going to regret it.
Modest tells me her mother paid Rodriguez about $35,000 when it was all said and done, but the work was never completed. And we also reached out to the county attorney's office regarding Rodriguez, but we have not yet received a response. Reporting in Central El Paso, Bill Malugin, KFOX 14, News at 5.
The county's jurisdiction over zoning the land around the new Tornillo Bridge will now be half of what the county wants, and that's if they can get state lawmakers to sign off on the plan. The zoning area from San Elizario to Hudspeth County was first to encompass about 122 square miles of land, but now it's down to 60 at most.
The goal of the court, I think, is to make it so when you drive from the Tornillo Bridge to I-10, you would see big shops and stores and nice shops, no junkyards.
The bill is currently in the hands of State Rep. Mary Gonzalez of El Paso, who is the sponsor for the legislation in the House, and Senator Jose Rodriguez is carrying the bill in the state Senate. The city of Las Cruces moves forward to try to protect its historic buildings. An ordinance was created several years ago to regulate the city's historic buildings that were built before 1945. Well, today the city discusses creating a committee to help oversee the ordinance.
Las Cruces is a city that's over 150 years old, and with that comes some very significant buildings, and we want to make sure that they're preserved.
The city would first not want the historic buildings to be demolished, but if there is a need, those buildings would be put on a 120-day delay to give it time to research the significance of the building. Last night was much colder. Now let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Sandra Diaz and our KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center to let us know if we're in for another cold night.
Oh, it's going to be another cold night, Erica. Yes, it was a cool day today. Temperatures are going to easily drop. Take a look. In fact, right now we have 61 degrees with east-northeast winds to 9 miles per hour and sunny skies. And in Las Cruces, it's cold here, or I should say cooler than what we saw a few days ago. 60 degrees right now, but tonight will be cold as temperatures dip to the mid-30s in El Paso with east winds to 10 miles per hour. In Las Cruces, our temperatures will drop to near freezing under clear skies. The air is dry, the winds are light, but we're also in for some warmer temperatures this week. I'll let you know which days are looking to be the warmest still ahead.
It's alligator versus deputy. The reason she feels she has no choice but to wrestle the gator herself. A camera once lost in the ocean recovered. The key it holds to finding the owner. One moment, a lifetime in the making. This soldier's special homecoming story. Next on KFOX 14 News at 5. Coverage you can count on.
To get your daily forecast, text DAILY14 to 70123.
Look at that. It was a moment, months in the making. Sergeant McAderrick coming back from Afghanistan this morning, able to kiss his son for the very first time. Up until now, he's only seen Dusty through Skype and pictures.
Having a newborn, I didn't get to come home this time for my newborn son, so this is the first I got to see him, and I don't know, I'm shaking.
Oh, we were happy to be there. This is Sergeant McAderrick's third and final tour. He is set to retire. With the raising of the Afghan flag, the U.S. military gives the Afghan government control of nearly all the inmates at a major prison American troops used to run. General Joseph Dunford, commander of U.S. and NATO forces, made it official when he and the Afghans signed the final documents. Afghan President Hamid Karzai insisted on this, and for a long time, the U.S. military resisted. American officials say the Afghans have already freed prisoners who went back to fighting U.S. troops and Karzai's government. Out of our exclusive Washington bureau, new concerns this evening about hundreds of labs across the country, including some here in Texas. Federal auditors say 1,300 labs that work with deadly substances lack uniform security procedures. They say that puts employees and the public at risk for exposure to things like anthrax and diseases. There are labs like these at Texas Biomedical Research Institute in San Antonio and Galveston National Laboratory. Security experts have been calling for stricter rules for years.
There needs to be some pretty stringent standards designated and then enforced so that the public is protected from anything inadvertent happening.
Government agencies have said they already have multiple layers of safety and security in place. Several people recover from their injuries this evening after a car slams into a taco stand in Austin. Here's the aftermath: scattered chairs and a smashed-in taco stand. The hit and run happened early this morning. Police say the driver took off after the crash and was later found and arrested for intoxication assault. Employees say the crash may have been caused because of an argument.
My boss went outside and told me, you know what, if you're going to start problems, just go. No, we don't want no problems here, and he did, but on the way, he told him when he was leaving, he told my boss, I'll see you again.
4 people were injured, 2 were taken to the hospital with broken bones. Police in California applaud the courage of a little girl in the aftermath of a crash that left her father dead. Her father lost control of his SUV and it tumbled 200 feet down a canyon, landing at the bottom of a ravine. The little girl then walked in the near dark along difficult terrain to try and get help for her dad.
The young lady was 9 years old and she survived the collision. She noticed that her father was unresponsive, and so she felt compelled to go try to render aid for him.
She went to a nearby house, but when no one came to the door, she went back to the scene to check on her dad, who was still unconscious. The girl then scaled the steep cliff to get up to the highway, walked about a mile before someone stopped to help her. Her father ultimately died of his injuries. She had minor injuries. A Florida sheriff's deputy takes down a different kind of bad guy. These are pictures of Deputy Jessica McGregor wrestling a gator outside of a middle school. She's the school's resource officer. She says there wasn't time to wait for a trapper, because the gator showed up while the students were being let out for the day.
When I got down on his back, the main important thing in my mind was just keep my knees behind his front legs, and keep my hands on the back of his neck, and pressing down, and that way he couldn't back out from underneath me. He couldn't turn around and get me. I was, sitting on top of him the way I was.
They make reality shows out of stuff like this. This thing was 7 feet long. That's a big one. McGregor says she and her brother grew up in the area and they're used to dealing with gators. A unisex bathroom sign is installed at an Oregon public high school. The school has 10 transgender students. They told school administrators they felt uncomfortable using the regular bathroom facilities, so the school took action and made 6 unisex bathroom stalls.
I was terrified to go in the men's restroom. I wasn't afraid of physical violence. I don't think that's a thing that Grant students would resort to, but I was definitely just anxious that someone would say something. And then going in the women's restroom, I get funny looks in there because I don't look like a girl exactly.
Other school districts have now reportedly developed interest in installing similar restrooms. Britain's Prince Harry is returning to the United States. His trip will include trips to Arlington National Cemetery, Walter Reed National Medical Center, and the competition between British and American veteran athletes in the Warrior Games in Colorado Springs. He will also visit Hurricane Sandy victims in New Jersey. Florida zoo workers spent today cleaning up after several powerful storms passed through. Trees toppled over onto animal enclosures and cages at Wild Things Zoo in Dade City. One frightened panther wouldn't even come out of her cage after a tree crashed on top of it.
You can see at the top here where it's kind of collapsed in the roof on her enclosure. There's basically a big wide open hole in the top there.
Another enclosure housing the mystery monkey of Tampa Bay caved in, but it wasn't bad enough for the monkey to make an escape.
A gorgeous day for the borderland. A little on the cool side with temperatures running below average today. Nonetheless, a nice quiet day. We have hardly any clouds to be seen anywhere nearby, and the reason for that is we have dry air at all levels of the atmosphere. This is the mid and upper levels, and you can see all those high clouds well to our south or even up to our north and northwest. So we have the dry air in place, and we have the light winds. All of this complements of an area of high pressure off to our east. Along with that, you can see winds right now less than 10 miles per hour, and our temperatures still a bit cool out there. Right about 60 in El Paso and Las Cruces, already in the upper 50s in Alamogordo and TRC. How about 54 already in Del City? But officially at the airport today, we were below average, not only this morning, but also this afternoon. Here are the averages for today, and these are the official temperatures. So you can get the picture that we're certainly nowhere near that, but we're going to start our transition into a warm-up as we head in towards tomorrow. Now, as I mentioned, we have that high pressure off to our east, and with winds circulating clockwise around that system out east, our winds have been generally out of the southeast today. That's a cool air mass off to the east, so it's bringing some of that cooler air and keeping us with temperatures below average today, and that will leave us with a cold night tonight as well. But I did say also that we're expecting to see warmer temperatures as the winds tomorrow will still remain out of the south, southeast. They start to slowly take that turn more towards the south, especially as we head in towards Wednesday. So we're warmer tomorrow and even warmer on Wednesday. But you'll also notice not only will the temperatures be on the increase, you'll also notice the cloud cover on the increase, and that could kind of inhibit us from really seeing those much warmer temperatures, but it's not going to take long. In fact, by the weekend, we should see them back in the 80s. So tonight, a cold night with 35 expected for El Paso, 67 tomorrow afternoon. In Las Cruces tonight, dipping to around the freezing mark and then warming to the mid to upper 60s tomorrow afternoon as well. Now, the next couple of days really reflect that quick jump in those temperatures, but we're also going to see some breezes come Wednesday. Nothing strong, almost similar to today, with winds occasionally gusting to 20, maybe 25 miles per hour. But as we look ahead to Easter weekend, it is looking nice. I'll have that in your 5-day forecast with the weekend always in view.
A camera lost at sea. The clues some hope will reunite the owner with her memories. A Powerball ticket worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The words of advice for the still unnamed winner. Next on KFOX 14 News at 5. Coverage you can count on. The winner of the latest Powerball drawing has yet to come forward. The single winning ticket for Saturday's drawing was sold at a liquor store in New Jersey. The jackpot was $338 million.
We're waiting for the winner to contact us, or the possible winners. I have some advice for them right away. Whoever they are, they should sign the back of that ticket immediately, put it in a safe place.
Under New Jersey law, the Powerball winner cannot remain anonymous. The names of the winners and the towns where they live are published. Memories preserved on a camera thought to be lost at sea are now found. This China Airlines employee found a Canon camera washed ashore on the coast of Taiwan. The camera was covered in barnacles with the memory card still intact 5.5 years later. There's a good shot. It's believed the camera drifted from Hawaii since there were pictures of a 2007 trip there. Airline officials are assuming this blonde lady from the photos owns the camera, and so they've been trying to locate her.
I don't know how this camera go to Taiwan. I believe it's a gas arrangement. I'm not sure. This lady is living in Hawaii or the mainland U.S. I don't know.
Maybe there'll be a follow-up to that story, but if the woman's located, she will have an open ticket from China Airlines to go and pick up the camera in Taiwan. And we have an update on this evening's top stories next on KFOX 14 News at 5.
After weeks of canceled meetings, Socorro City Council holds a special meeting tonight. Find out if it's Representative Jesse Gandaras Jr.'s first appearance since his arrest.
Well, it looks like we're in for some warmer temperatures as we head through the week. What your Easter weekend is looking like is in your 5-day forecast, with the weekend always in view, next on KFOX 14 News at 5. All right, let's take a look at the 5-day forecast with the weekend always in view. We're in for a somewhat warmer day tomorrow, but still below average. But boy, that air moderates quickly. Wednesday through Friday, we are seeing temperatures in the upper 70s near 80, with occasional breezes to about 20-25 miles per hour, just like today. Nothing very strong, but the holiday weekend is looking nice. Temperatures return to the 80s. Even Easter looks great, but as we head into next week, we're still warm, but the winds return.
If you're just joining us, we have this evening's top stories starting right now. Socorro City Council calls a special meeting tonight. District 4 Representative Jesse Gandara Jr. is expected to make his first appearance since his arrest last week. KFOX 14 News at 5's Gina Benitez is live in Socorro, where the meeting is currently going on, to tell us whether he's there.
Representative Maria Reyes was a no-show tonight, and at 5:30, Gandara was still noticeably absent. With only 2 reps, the meeting wasn't going to happen, but a few minutes in, Gandara made his way through the back door. As we've reported, Gandara turned himself in last week after he was indicted along with Police Sergeant Refugio Horta of mismanaging $4,000 in city money. Gandara promised to speak to the media after last week's meeting, but that meeting never happened. Instead, Gandara addressed his arrest in a statement handed out at last week's meeting. He claims the charges by the sheriff are politically motivated. Erica?
President Obama urges Congress to act quickly on immigration reform. At a citizenship ceremony today at the White House, he says he wants the immigration debate to begin next month so that a bill can be signed into law as soon as possible. President Obama's immigration proposal allows a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants in about 8 years and requires business owners to check the immigration status of new hires within 4 years. Meantime, a bipartisan group of senators is working on a framework for an immigration overhaul of the Unresolved Issues, a guest worker program, how to handle the future flow of low-skilled workers who come to the United States, the number of years required in a pathway to citizenship program, and how to measure border security. And that's it for KFOX 14 News at 5. I'm Erica Castillo. We'll see you again when news breaks, and tonight at 9.